Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Okay, so we are still at the preface and we were learning a lot of stuff, so we should continue. My book, it says italic one, page 3, and the paragraph is in this commentary of Shantipat. Whoever has the book.
Page 4 in the new book, Kumadi.
Okay, page 4, and volunteers to read.
I can read that much.
Okay, Nareshji.
In his commentary on Shanti Patha,
Pat.
Gurudev enunciates a simple technique of enhancing memory and asserts that the capacity of remembering all previous discourses is acquired through a self-conscious and deliberate effort. Memory is facilitated by continuously employing the mind to dwell upon these thoughts. This mental and intellectual process of assimilation of what we have heard is called reflection, manana.
Yeah. So this, I have to just, we have not come to the Shanti part yet because uska bhi ek tune वगैरह है. So when we come to it, then we will try to learn how to sing that Shanti part. But in that Shanti part, because every Upanishad has its own Shanti part, sometimes they are the same ones. And this one is very similar to the Taittiriya Upanishad because they both belong to the same Vedas and all that. But in the Shanti part, there is a line which says, so that we'll have a, let not what I have heard forsake me. Huh? That line is going to come in that we are praying to God. That means forsake means that whatever I have learned, it should not leave. कि ऐसे बोलते हैं ना हिंदी में एक कहावत है एक कान से सुना दूसरे से निकाल दिया मतलब अंदर गया ही नहीं और अंदर गया और गायब हो गया I don't remember. So they're saying that it's very important in Vedanta because whatever we have learned in any subject, even in the worldly subject, if you are doing math and you forget how to add and subtract, you can't solve the bigger problems. You got to know the basics. The same way that when we are learning, I should not forget as I move forward in my learning, I should not forget the previous things. They should stay with me. And that's why many times we say that in Bhagavad Gita also, we have come to chapter 10 now. We can't forget all the main ideas that Bhagwan has mentioned up to chapter 9, because if we forget, it will not make sense what he's saying. So it's very important, and then it's a holistic approach also, because if you take in this religious texts or you can say the scriptures, that's a very big danger. एक चीज निकाल के ये तो सब खराब है. Have you read the whole thing? Do you know the context of it? Because sometimes it happens, sometimes people will come and argue from, I think I've told you about that, from Ramayana, they will take out one verse. Oh, Ramchandra ji said such terrible things to Sita ji. How could he do that and all that? Hey, have you first understood their relationship? Have you understood what Ram is all about, what Sita is all about? 23,000 other verses, and then you're just holding on to one. You'll never understand it. It's like, somebody wrote a book and you go to the last page and you say, this conclusion is all wrong. Have you read it? No. So that's exactly what over here and this point is, that whatever I have, firstly, study everything and then remember it. And that's called mananam and reflection, because mananam requires, impression of everything that you have read has to stay in your mind. Then the right mananam will come. Otherwise, it will be lopsided. So that's what they're talking about over here. Very important.
The Upanishad begins with the assertion that in the beginning, Atma, self alone, was this universe. Here, self is nothing other than the all-pervading reality, Brahman, for there is no difference between the cup space and the universal outer space, argues the master.
So, the reason they are bringing all these things, because these concepts are important to know before even we jump into this. Upanishads are always, you have to know all the terms already. And I think our class knows this. We have discussed it many times that, Atma, when we say Atma and Paramatma, essence, they are the same. And the best example is the space. Whether the space is here or it is at the end of the universe, it's the same space. And it's one. That's because that is the best example, for Atma. So that's why they're saying it's a Atma when they talk about self. And the English translation for Atma, they have made it self with a capital S. That's how. So there are many places. This is what we have to understand. Whenever they talk about that Brahman, and there is in English language, they always capitalize it. Even though grammatically it may look wrong, sometimes the all pervading reality. See how all and reality here has made it capital. So then it is pointing to that. Self also, they will never write with the small s. So Atma, they will always write with the capital S, whether it's in the middle of the sentence or beginning. So these are some of the things. And so they're just reminding us that Atma and Paramatma is actually one thing.
Creation is but a superimposition upon the truth, just as the appearance of the ghost on the post. That creation is beginningless, is explained in a simple and easily understandable, flawless logic by Puja Guru.
So this is a very interesting thing. Somebody says that when did this universe start? Because our modern science loves a linear kind of thing. A beginning and end and falana dikra. We don't believe in like that. We believe in a circle. If you draw a circle and you say complete perfect circle hota na, you will not know where it began. Hai ki nahi? It becomes one. It keeps going round and round. That's one point. Another point is, so this is a little bit esoteric, a little bit difficult, but let's see if I can explain. Because words sometimes don't do justice to what I'm trying to say. That when consciousness is there, we talked about consciousness's power or Shakti. Just like the fire is heat and light is there. Now somebody asked, when did the heat and light start? Somebody asked that question to us. What will we say? When the fire started, because it is part of it. The moment fire started, there's heat and light. Now go back and put this question to consciousness. Consciousness is infinite. It's always there. Now ask, when did the universe start? Hey, it's also beginningless, because jab se wo hai, tab se universe bhi aayega. See what I'm saying? So that question is a very redundant question, because, if this is beginningless, Bhagwan, then creation is also beginningless. It was always there. Potency is always there. Do you have something, Meenaji? You said something. I'm not sure if... No? Okay. So it's a little difficult thing, but just think about this. So that's what they are trying to say. That's why they call big creation also. Maya also, they call it beginningless. Some people say that you can't define Maya. Because, and other people will say Maya is also beginningless because of this reason. But then the Vedanta says you can end the Maya, not exactly end, but you can rise above it. You can make yourself in such a way that it doesn't affect you. It's something like this. I see the snake on the rope because it's dark and also as a snake jaisa dikhta hai, and I'm scared because I think it's a real snake, right? Somebody comes and tells me, no, it's a rope. Now I know. It's possible that I wake up tomorrow and the same thing happens to me. I'm looking out and I say, snake. Oh, no, yesterday he told me it's a rope, so it's the snake bhag jayega. Right? So even after knowing, I can see it, but I won't be scared anymore. Did you get it? So that's what it is, that we might still come back on the earth and all that, but if we come back with that knowledge that it is all temporary, it won't affect us that much. Right now, the reason we get scared, that we think that, oh my God, what will happen? And the saints and just saying, nothing is going to happen to you. It's all temporary. But we still don't get it. So something like that. It's a little deeper thing. Okay? Why it is creation is beginningless.
Even the Creator is not free to create a world as He likes. This is a startling assertion which is explained in a masterly analogy. Just as a contractor would construct a house to his client's blueprint, the Creator is bound by the total vasanas in the cosmos for creating the world, wherein all the vasanas find a field to express themselves. We, with our actions, known and unknown, conscious and unconscious, are making the blueprints of our future. The Lord is but a contractor who executes our plans, asserts the master.
This is a very, very powerful analogy. So, like even in Mahabharata, there were Bhagwan Krishna was accused. Why you didn't stop the war? You are Bhagwan. You are all capable of doing it. You know, it's like the karmas were so bad, the surgery needed to be done. So that's what can Bhagwan do when our own karmas are bad? So anyway, this is what it is. Think of this analogy that suppose I want to build a house. A lot of us may have done it in our lives, scratch say, okay? So I get all excited and I hire an architect and I make a blueprint. Architect can only make the blueprint. He cannot build the house. So then I get a contractor and I say, okay, build this house. So the guy builds the house, and after the house is built, I say, ye kya banaya hai? This is not what I wanted. He said, what do you mean? You gave me the blueprint. You want something different? So change the blueprint and give it to me. Then I just followed the blueprint. Now you understood? So Bhagwan say, hey, people say, I hate my life. Why this, why that? Hey, that's a blueprint of our life. So we are going to get this no matter what. You don't like it? Change the blueprint. Change your karmas. Next life में भगवान को फिर से दो नई blueprint. I tell you, this example hit home so much that anytime you say, why me, why this? Hey, blueprint, contractor, and Bhagwan, that's what Bhagwan is. He cannot change. It's like our teacher used to give this example for children that, hey, I have an avocado tree and I'm eating avocado. Then I look at my neighbor and say, see the apple tree. And say, oh God, that's better, man. Why do I have avocado? Then I sit there, Bhagwan, please give me apple in my tree, avocado. Will it happen? No. What seed you have put, that's what is going to come out. That's what he's saying. That even Bhagwan is not free to give our life whatever we have ordered, our karmas, that's what we are getting it. If we want to change it, change the blueprint. Everybody got this picture? So after that, we are not going to complain to anybody or blame anybody, for anybody. This world is bad, this is bad. Kisi ne bola ki sometimes, like some swami, they are dhongi swamis. So why did I have to get a dhongi swami, who looted me and all? So our teacher was very funny. She said, maybe that's what was in your kismat, to get that dhongi swami to wake up. That, hey, he cheated me. Now I have to know what difference between dhongi and the other one, So sometimes we have to go through that. That's what it is.
Yeah, this answers the question about when people ask why bad things happen in this world.
Yeah.
Why there are bad people. All that. This is a very powerful thing what it says in here.
Yes.
And I think that answers the question about that. Why bad things happen.
Yeah, I think you're right. And in the bigger picture, they always say the universe is trying to get into balance. So it's like when too much bad things happen, something will try to come and correct it. And then we don't understand the bigger picture and all these natural calamities and all that. There is in the karma theory, and nobody can understand fully everything about karma. The Bhagwan also declared, because we see it from our intellect, which is so small and a small portion of the whole universe. We will never do. But just to understand, there are collective karmas also. This is karma of a community, karma of a country, and in the end, individually people have to purify themselves. Then the other will purify. Like sometimes, they say, oh, why do they make such terrible movies? Hey, because there is an audience for it. Audience have ordered. अगर कोई देखने नहीं जाएगा तो वो लोग भी नहीं बनाएंगे. or why there are so many like bars and things like that. Hey, because people want it. Tomorrow if people don't want bars, then they're not going to make it. So our own vasanas order the world. That's what it is. So this is something very deep. The responsibility comes to each individual about changing.
After creating the worlds, its guardians, the presiding deities, were created. The conscious principle reveals in us in 3 states of experiences, namely walking, dream, and deep sleep states. That which makes things available for our perception and understanding is consciousness. He is called Idadra.
Idam Dara. Idam Dhar. Actually, Idam Dhar hona chahiye. Okay.
So
I'll tell
spelling
you.
में मैंने ऐसे लिखा, since gods are found in their cryptic names, he is indirectly called Indra, says the Rishi.
So they are just going that we have not done the Upanishad yet. Basically, in this Upanishad, they are going to describe that, hey, when Bhagwan ne jab unke man mein khayal aaya na, that consciousness, I have to create the world. So what was the process? So first it was the Hiranyagarbha, the idea, and then actual manifestation happened. And then they have made a story that the Bhagwan ne kuch cow banai and devtas banai pehle, like the 5 elements. And the devta, I need some place to stay. And then the cow banai, the cow said, no, the devta said, no, this is not good enough. Make something else. ये घर मुझे अच्छा नहीं लगा. तो फिर उन्होंने कुछ हॉर्स बनाया, उन्होंने ये भी घर अच्छा नहीं लगा. फिर इंसान को बनाया, उसको देख के वो देवता बड़े खुश हो गए, बोले ये बिल्कुल सही है. बिकॉज उन्होंने अपनी इमेज में बनाया. And all the devtas entered, because that's why we have those 5 indriyas and the devtas are there, things like that. A very interesting story idea. Okay, so ऐसा सब है. So what they are saying is that the creator has to be part of the creation. His essence has to be in it. So they said, in my book, there is a little more elaboration that Nandana, highest gate, and I won't get into it because it will be more confusing. But that conscious principle makes us experience the 3 states in us. We have 3 states in the 24 hours, waking state, dream state, and deep sleep. उसका आधार सब consciousness ही है, उसकी वजह से we experience. That's what he's saying. And then the idam dhar is, idam means this. Dhar means supporting. किसी को आधार जिसका बोलते हैं. So the word is something that supports a particular thing, and that उस word से उन्होंने इंद्रा बनाया, idam dhar से. That's what it's just. Where did the word Indra come from? Indriya come from? Because these Indriyas, the different devatas are residing in our body, and they are supporting this whole creation. That's what they are. So if we can understand this much, it's fine, because we don't want to get too much, or we have not gone into the Upanishad itself right now.
The 2 pronouns, that and this, are very simply explained for even a layman to grasp. The point which is near to us is indicated by this, while the one which is further from us is known by that. That subjective center which is nearest to us, so near that there is no other point with reference to which it can ever be that, is best defined by this, explains the master.
So basically, they are just saying that when in Sanskrit they say idam, this is, within us, closest to us. Let's keep it simple here, otherwise we'll get all confused. This and that, this is the closest, that is further away from us. Those are the 2 terms used in Vedanta. Yeah.
The Upanishad further provides a definite proof, if one is needed, that the Hindu woman in the Hore caste had free access to great teachers to learn Vedas. The importance of prenatal education, which is of most recent origin in the West, was highly developed, valued, and enforced by the ancient sages. They laid great emphasis not only on entertaining purely satvika thoughts during pregnancy, but also eliminating even a chance of sensual thought in a pregnant woman.
So here he's, because in this Upanishad, I have not read the whole thing, so I don't know everything yet. We'll be studying together. Basically, they are talking about, creation of the universe. So in that, obviously, birth and death and all also is explained and all that. And then he's just saying that in this Upanishad, they have touched upon prenatal education when the child is in the womb. And now the science is saying that they can hear everything, the baby, and it responds and all that. And then in India, तो हमने पहले ही सुना था कि भाई, when you are pregnant, think of, Gita padho, ye karo, wo karo, then your child will be more sattvic. And so it's already mentioned in the Upanishads and Vedas. That's what they're trying to say, that, it does influence, and we should. And then they were saying that women, they, at one time somebody even mentioned that in India, maybe it happened, I don't know. Women cannot do this, women cannot do that. Sorry.
अभिमन्यु का भी तो इंसिडेंट
हाँ, अभिमन्यु का भी है, और इसमें उन्होंने प्रहलाद का बताया है. एंड मोस्ट ऑफ अस नो द प्रहलाद की स्टोरी, बट आई ब्रीफली यहाँ स्टोरी बताई है. And I will tell some interesting points about that story. You are absolutely right. अभिमन्यु ने पूरा सुन लिया था, not पूरा नहीं, sorry, आधा सुना था, इसलिए वो बेचारा yes, absolutely, उसकी माँ सो गई तो वो भी बेचारे को सुनाई नहीं दिया. So next time if somebody is telling you something very interesting, and if somebody is pregnant, then they should keep awake. और बाद में बताना जब मैं उठ जाऊँ. Don't leave the story yaad, because the child is going to know. Or sometimes, little kids, they will surprise you by, how does this person know this? They will say something very little, and maybe they heard it in the womb then, So anyway, that's what they're trying to say.
This is reflected in the injunction, pregnant woman, please retire. While the teacher explains the three births of man, first when he pours seeds into the womb of his wife, second, when the woman nourishes her embryo within her and the father nourishes both, meaning his wife and the embryo within her, and the third, when the father, having reached a ripe old age, dies and is born again.
So here, when we do the verses, we will go more deep into it, because it's talking about the creation. It'll get a little graphic also and all that, but we are all senior citizens. We have seen it all. So basically, that's what they are saying. In the beginning, the man puts the seed into the womb, and then the man nourishes the embryo, woman and the embryo both. And then the man eventually dies, but he takes another birth. So uske 3 janma bataye hain, so that they have their own way of telling the story. Basically that's what they are saying. And when we come to it, we will study more.
The teacher is thus pointing to the chord of oneness on which are struck.
Oh, did everybody see it got frozen? Nareshji, I could not hear you. Sorry. Can you start over that paragraph?
The teacher is thus pointing to the chord of oneness on which are strung the past, the present, and the future. The Father representing the past, the Son, the present, and the third birth of the Father, the future generation. The birth and the death are only with reference to the body. In its essence, the spirit is the theme of Upanishads, affirms the master.
So we already know that, okay, its consciousness is one, and past, present, and future are as those strung upon it. And this, by this example, that the father representing the past, okay, he was there, and the son is the present, and then when the father dies and takes another birth, it becomes the future. But it is a continuity. It's the same thing like that seed thing we talked about in the seed and the tree, that seed makes the tree, but the tree makes other seeds, and then it's going to make another tree, and another is a continuation. Okay, that's what they're going to say. That is going to be touched upon in this Upanishad. Yeah.
If somebody else wants to read it, because
Yeah.
there's still a couple of pages there.
Yes, absolutely. Any volunteers?
Otherwise, I can read it.
No, it's okay. Anilji, would you like to continue? It's this paragraph.
The Hindu mode.
Yeah, you are on mute.
The Hindu mode of prenatal education is provided through a Puranic story. The Asur king Hiranyakashipu, through severe austerities, had obtained a comprehensive boon from Brahma, which made him almost invincible. He could not be killed by striking or throwing weapons by enemies, by thunderbolts or by dried tree trunks, by high mountains or by water or fire. He could not be killed by gods, deities, seers, siddhas, nor by any other beings created by Brahma. He could not be slain in the heaven or on earth, in daytime or at night, indoors or outdoors, from above or below. Not satisfied with such a consummate boon, he set out for further austerities which naturally disturbed the denizens of heaven.
So most of us know this Hiranyakashipu story, right? Prahlad's father. So he had done all these tapasya, and the sad part is all the asuras, उनका थोड़ा limited thinking होती है, unfortunately. So they think मुझे अमर बनना है. You know, so Amar banna hai, I don't want to be killed. They want to stay in their body, all the bhog vilas, they want to continue. So then it's like, you know, have you seen the like documents these days? Sometimes you sign and the lawyers think they have covered everything. 3-page document, you don't even have time to read. And somebody finds a loophole. You know, that it's something like this. This fellow Hiranyakashipu thought, I covered everything possible. मैं ऐसे भी नहीं मरूं, उससे भी नहीं मरूं, ऊपर भी नहीं, नीचे भी नहीं, सुबह भी नहीं, शाम को, whatever, you know, दिन में नहीं, रात में नहीं, शाम भूल गया वो, you know, so भगवान ने उसको शाम को पकड़ा, ऊपर भी नहीं, नीचे भी नहीं, तो उसको अपने गोद में मार डाला, वेपन से नहीं मरूं कोई भी, तो अपने नाखून से ही मार डाला उसको, whatever. इतना, and you know, बाहर भी नहीं, अंदर भी नहीं, तो उसको चौखट के ऊपर, बीच में, दहलीज के ऊपर पकड़ लिया उसको, you know. और किसी जानवर से भी नहीं मरूं, इंसान से भी नहीं, और देवता से भी नहीं, और किन्नर से भी नहीं, तो उन्होंने आधा मैन, नीदर यू आर मैन नॉर यू आर लायन, लूप होल सारा ढूंढ लिया. इज भगवान, मैन, इज अनंत. So that's what we know the story. Very interesting story. Especially the kids love this story, you know. So this is what he's talking about, that story of Hiranyakashipu. Yeah.
To complete this side of the story first, Lord Vishnu had to take a fuzzy, nursing man-lion avatar having a marvelous form with fierce and fiery eyes, matted locks, and quivering mane, projecting tusks and sword-like sharp tongue, equipped with claws and other unique weapons, neither man nor animal. He tore apart his body with razor-sharp claws, without any weapon, after placing him on his knees, which is neither above or below, on the threshold of the mansion, which is neither in nor out, at dusk, which was neither day nor night.
Beautiful story, right? कि कैसे उन्होंने उसको पकड़ा. Yes. Okay, go ahead.
To continue the main story, the gods, being alarmed at Hiranyakashipu's intention of acquiring further powers through tapasya, thought of saving the society by preventing the next generation from being turned into felons, Atatyanians.
Atatai is a Sanskrit word for, like, you know, badmash admi, you know, like doing bad stuff. Atatai.
Atatyans. They planned to provide prenatal education to all pregnant women in Hiranyakashipu's kingdom at that time.
Okay.
The great consort of Hiranyakashipu was pregnant, and Narad, the sage of wisdom and devotion, conducted her to Vashistha ashram, where she remained in a serene atmosphere till the end of her pregnancy, listening to daily discourses and serving the ashram. she gave birth to the boy of our Puranas, the devoted Prahlad.
Okay, so this is the story which a lot of people may not know or may know, I don't know, but it's very interesting part of the story. So this guy, उसको ये boon मिल गया, right? कि वो ये मरेगा नहीं ऐसे ऐसे ऐसे. Then he was like फिर भी satisfied नहीं हुआ, तो he went to do more tapasya. हाँ, तो Indra got very worried. This is a part of the story which they have not mentioned it, but very interesting part of it, because वहाँ इंद्र वहाँ भी kind of greed और ये सब है, थोड़ा subtle form में है, and maybe for good reasons and all, because he didn't want the dusht lok to take over the what you call swarg lok. Huh? So from that perspective, think about it. Indra got worried. Now this guy is going to take over and all the bad guys are going to rule the world, so I got to do something. So जब वो तपस्या कर रहा था ना, तो उसने चढ़ाई कर दी उसके इंद्र ने, and then he kidnapped his wife. His name was Kayadu, उसका नाम था, and she was pregnant at that time. He did something bad, obviously. So and फिर उसके मन में ऐसे ख्याल आने लगा कि इसका बच्चा है ना, ये भी दुष्टी होगा. So natural thinking कि वो हिरण्यकशिपु का बच्चा है तो ये भी दुष्टी हो गया, इसको भी कुछ खत्म ही कर देना चाहिए. ऐसे बुरा ख्याल आया उसके मन में to kill the fetus or something. नारद जी आ गए वहाँ पे. नारद जी is like a त्रिकालदर्शी. And Narad ji knows a lot of things and he tried to fix things. He didn't want Indra to do something horrible like that. You know, it's just a bad thing. You know, not necessarily the ki dusht ka bacha dushti ho, you know. So he said, don't kill this baby. Don't harm this baby. I will take care of her. A very great child is going to be born. He's going to be a devotee of Narayan. So they took the wife. So now they have to nurture this, child in the womb, which is just embryo right now, but they have to start the prenatal education. So they kept the wife in the ashram. Some people say Narad ashram, or यहाँ बोला Vashisht, doesn't matter. Some saint के आश्रम में उसको रखा. And नारद जी तो जहाँ भी होते हैं वो सिर्फ नारायण नारायण ही गाते हैं. And then उसको सुबह शाम सत्संग होता था वहाँ पे. तो वो बैठ के सुनती थी. वो क्या करेगी? She cannot go anywhere. So she's listening. And through her, Prahlad is listening to the whole Vedanta. Who is God? What is our relationship? He got totally established in Brahman while he was in the womb. That's the story. And then later on, when वो अपनी तपस्या से उठाना, then उसको भेज दिया उसकी वाइफ को वापस. But prenatal education पूरा करके भेजा उसको. तो अभी हिरण्यकशिपु को मालूम ही नहीं है कि मेरा दूसरे ढंग से मेरे को हरा दिया गया है. That my own child is going to be singing Narayan, Narayan, when he grows up. That's the whole story. Very interesting, right? How strategy से उसको पकड़ा उन्होंने.
The Rishi comes to the most important major text of the Upanishad, nay of the Rig Veda itself, when the teacher thunders that consciousness is Brahman. Prajnanam Brahma. Did I say it right?
Yeah, Prajnanam. Actually, we say Prajnanam Brahma.
And concludes the Upanishad with a bang.
So this is just, we have not got into the Upanishad, but remember I always talk about the 4 Mahavakyas. We have heard of Tat Tvamasi, you are that, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. There is another Mahavakya called Prajnanam Brahma, that this consciousness is Brahman. Because we as conscious being can relate to that consciousness, because that's what makes us conscious. So this consciousness that is within us is Brahman only. That's what is declared in this Aitreya Upanishad. That's why this Upanishad is so important, because there are 4 Upanishads, 4 Mahavakyas coming. Each one is coming from one Veda, and this is one of them. That's what he's saying.
Repeated reprints and resulted in numerous inaccuracies, rendering understanding difficult for new sadhaks. Besides, readability was poor.
Oh, you know what? Let's not read that. That is, sorry. This is all about Sanskrit and all that. We don't. So we can stop here. So we can continue with the introduction next time, because Swamiji has given a very long introduction, and I think that if we read all that, we will understand Upanishad much better. So we should definitely read all that. but this is what this preface, maybe learned a lot of things, you know. So any question or comment on this Upanishad or Hiranyakashipu story and all that? And I wanted to say that on one hand, Indra had a plan, but when Naradji intervened, he respected Naradji's decision and he gave, the custody of the wife to him. So that shows that even though he was scheming all these things, when the guru comes and says something, he listened to him, So that was a difference. Yeah, in the story, that's how it goes. Naradji, he listened to Naradji. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the main point of the Rig Veda, उसका निचोड़ जिसको कहते हैं, वो होगा consciousness is Brahman, correct?
Yeah. Yes, you can say that.
Okay. Because it says here the Rishi comes to the most important major text of the Upanishad and then says name of the Rig Veda itself.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Rig Veda itself का जो सबसे main point है, most important major text, वो है consciousness is Brahman.
Yes.
So that is the point we will be learning in this Upanishad.
Yes. And then what I was going to say that all of them, sometimes people say, पूरे गीता का निचोड़ क्या है? And so then people will come up with one-liners or two-liners or पूरे एक. So this is the nichod of the whole thing. You're absolutely right. And from each Veda, there is one thing came out. And, that doesn't mean that we don't study the rest of it, because to understand just this much, we have to study the rest of it. It's like somebody say that, what's his name? Einstein, E equal to mc square. If I don't know what E is, what M is, what square is, what C is, I won't understand anything.
So, but I think what Swamiji has done is that he has given us something to focus on. We have to keep this in mind as we read the Upanishad, that this is the point that we will have to understand after having read the Upanishad.
Yes.
So ये शुरू से ही mind में रखिए इसको as you go forward. I think that must be the idea of
yes.
it here.
You are absolutely right. Then we'll have a better chance of understanding. Yeah. That's a very good point that you brought. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? So I can close the class early. A lot of things in there. Yeah. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah. Sarve Santu Niramaya. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Everybody have a great week. And if anybody needs a book that you have not given me the name, just text me and I can get it for you also. Okay? I will see you.
Everyone.
Hari Om.
Hari
See you.
Om. Hari Om.